Alrighty, friends. You know what time it is. Some kind of body part. Some phalange. I think they're called fingers? No? Ears, maybe? No, boy. It's time for toes, gang. Freaking weirdos. All right. What's up, everybody? How you doing today? Welcome in. I promise the whole toes thing is not like some weird toes thing. It's just the end of the word tomatoes. And I mean, you know how Twitch chat is. I feel like it was kind of Twitch chat that started that out. They're too lazy to type in the other parts of the word, so it ended up being toes all the time. And that's where we are now. But welcome in everybody else, all you people who, you know, just come in and say normal things when you get in here. Look at you, toes gangers. Nah, I love you. Appreciate you. Reese, good to see you, man. Mrs. Tomato, of course. Toes gang lead. The ultimate toe. Shifty. Hello, my friend. Welcome in, Tussbow. Welcome. Fast, and I see you funking out, dancing. Good to see it. Good to see it. I like the moving emotes. That's a nice touch. Nice touch of motion. Too bad on Restream they don't animate, so they just sit there. Pretty boring. Matt Sully, welcome in. Hawks, hey, good to see you, man. I just messaged you. Well, we were messaging back and forth. Echo, of all people, Echo Zeppelin is here. Sure, Echo. Be here then. Zero, hello, how you doing? Appreciate you being here. Monte, welcome. Deja, good to see you. Fresh Prince, Lucid and Fumanchu. Welcome in, everybody. We've got one of those kinds of Mondays today. Sometimes I do more of the talking, sometimes I do less. Today I'll probably do less, but you never know. We're going to be looking into UI stuff today. We are getting a new update from the UI team. I think this is their third this quarter. It's like second or third this quarter, which is pretty crazy because we don't get this much access to teams usually. So I think there's some upsides and some downsides to this new way that CIG is doing their whole content delivery. So they like to do multiple weekly shows throughout each quarter. Star Citizen Live and Inside Star Citizen. Star Citizen Live is what we're about to watch. Usually it's a mixture of calling all devs or Q&As or just kind of panels with people who work on the game. It's like an interview style, longer form show. Inside Star Citizen is like your 10 to 20 minute featurette on stuff coming up in the game. It used to be more of like just general development, sprint reports, things that were coming in a year or 2 years, things that were coming in 3 months. Now they're kind of just focusing on the next quarter, at least for right now. I guess because they just had a lot to go over in 323. Don't know how they're going to continue with it, but I'll say this. Their new style of doing this, the way they've been doing it, where they do like an ISC and then a week later they do an SCL, and all of this stuff is focused on what's coming up in the next patch. It gets us a lot of really good information and depth on the stuff coming up. I think we go deeper than we normally would get to with these features in development now. Normally, we would have just gotten maybe one update from the UI team over the course of a year and a half or 2 years. Maybe another update in like a different format, but definitely not 2 updates on ISC and 3 updates on Star Citizen Live in 1 quarter. So the density of information we're getting this year seems to be really good, and I hope they keep up with that when it comes to when they're going to start covering engineering. You know, I hope they're bringing on the EUPU team regularly. I hope Torsten comes in. And when they're talking about the quantum travel rework, I'm hoping that they're talking about the functionality of exploration and quantum boost and stuff and giving us a good sit-down Q&A on all that stuff, because they are knocking us around with UI talk, and I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, today we're going to go over this Star Citizen Live and all the stuff, the questions that they get and the answers that they give us, and hopefully we'll get some good information. And thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you all as always. Hold on a second. And, you know, if you're watching this after the fact, come join us live. We're good people. We're okay people. And we talk a lot more than you get to see in the videos. You cut out a lot of the chatter. Talking about you guys there in chat. You got a bit delayed since Jared's concussion. Oh, the videos. Yes. There were a couple of delays there mid-season. Glad he's doing okay. You enjoy the longer form content? It gives the speakers more time to articulate their responses. Yeah. And you know you need all the articulation when it comes to talking about Star Citizen. Articulate me to the fucking max. Super Mac thinks 323 is going live this week. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's possible. This would have to be their target week, right? They've only got 2 more days left in April, but I think we can rest assured it's not going to go live by the end of April. I don't know. I've heard people throw around the possibility of this week, and I thought maybe that was something that came from CIG, but I don't think it would be a good idea to go live this week. I think they should aim for probably like next week or the week after. I would say open a window from the 9th to the 14th and launch it by then. And then anything that doesn't make it good by then, cut it out. Cut it out. Whip it off. We don't need it. We don't want it. If it makes things worse, we don't care about it. We are okay, not great, but fun at parties. Oh, we're great at parties, man. Do you remember CitizenCon? All right. Let's get into this. What does UI have to say to us now? Please tell us some good stuff that can help us speculate and extrapolate extraordinarily for exploration gameplay. Let's go. Let me make sure this sounds actually. Bone.
Oh, that's the wrong camera. There we are. Hi. No, just Gabe, start the show.
Hello. Welcome to Star Citizen Live.
Who are you?
What, we're just getting into it, okay.
Gabriel Hector.
And what do you do?
I'm a systems designer at the Manchester office for CIG.
And you're going to host this week's show.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Jerry, why are you putting this man on the
Jared?
spot?
Who are you and what do you do?
Ah, the turntables.
Thanks, Gabe.
What the heck?
Jared.
What is that monstrosity on Jared's desk? Is this a PlayStation 5? What the... Dude, this is huge. Is this a controller? Like a MIDI controller or something? He'll get to it? Okay. I'm sure he will, knowing Jared.
I don't know what I'm in charge of. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live. We're by ourselves today. David, who you sometimes hear me shout out to, is feeling under the weather today. So we've set up, we've literally moved the control stuff over here. So I have to do everything for the show. So we'll see how it goes. The last time I did this,
this should be good.
like this was the Big Invictus All Vehicles Roundtable last year, and I managed to pull that off. There was more people, so yeah, it should be fine. Hi, welcome to Star Citizen Live. I'm Jared. This is the show at the end of the week where we grab a bunch of our developers and we take your questions and we put them to them, and they answer your questions.
We hold them at gunpoint and subject them to our questions. That's what we do.
Joining us on the show this week are esteemed members of the UI feature team.
Yay!
Gabe, we've got Bone, we've got Zane, and we've got Emily. Hi, everybody.
Bone and muscle.
Hi. So, Gabe, you've already done your intro. You're not technically on the UI team, but you're a designer, system designer on the PU and squadron teams. You help.
Yeah, and
Man, can I just say, I've been telling you guys about this ongoing back pain I've been having recently, and it was. I've been sitting in this chair for like the last several hours doing video work. Supporters, got a good one coming your way. And my back was already hurting when the stream started. And Mrs. Tomato has blessed me with Mrs. Tomato has blessed me with icy hot spray on my back, and it is working wonders. My dog is being rather rude. I taught you better than that, Tommy.
I have a lot of focus on UI features all over the place. I've got my finger in everything, and I'm annoying these guys a lot.
So, Bone, we'll start with you. Tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
Hello, I'm David Bonegill. Everyone calls me Bone, as I may have mentioned before. I'm a technical director.
The poor cameras. The cameras are a little off focus, I think.
For the UI on Star Citizen and Squadron 42.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, what did he say it was?
I'm a technical director. For
Technical
the UI
director.
on Star Citizen and Squadron 42.
Okay. Zane, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Abdi, you
Hi,
just
Zane.
give Bone a shout out.
I'm a UI developer, programmer, designer, and I don't really know what my title is at any given time. I'm supposed to be on core tech, but I haven't touched that in a while, so I just do everything. And
Yeah, man, I don't know, girl. I don't know how these titles work, man. There are a lot, and I can't follow. It's a designer above a director, or core tech is beneath UI. Like what?
I'm working on the map system.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you and I are in the running for the most number of titles that we've had in the time here. That it's constantly trying to figure out exactly where we fit in.
It's just our ambition to want to do everything. So.
Bone, tell us who Emily is.
Oh, blimey.
You just say blimey?
No, Emily, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Emily.
Hey, Mrs. Tomato, can we clip that out, please, as a sound alert for the stream? Just Bone saying, "Oh, blimey."
Bone, tell us who Emily is.
Oh, blimey.
What?
No, Emily, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Emily. I'm a UI programmer, predominantly at the moment. I'm working on the star map. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Yeah, we are out of cameras. We need more cameras for more people. We're gonna try to upgrade the show.
Can we get Blimey Tech T0?
Right. So we took questions from the community. We put them on, or we put a thread up on Spectrum. We gathered questions. We let you guys go through and pull the questions. We're just going to jump right into it because it's really hard for me to do all the multitasking stuff.
Love jumping.
Right. So right off the bat, first question. Yeah, this one. Yeah, will we be able to select start zoom? We will be able to select start zoom of map. Okay, if I'm in the pilot seat, I would like it to start zoomed out in the system map. But if I'm standing in my ship, I would like it zoomed in on the world map. So basically, can they set different zoom levels as default based on what situation they're in?
I think we agreed so much with this.
Yeah. I've actually been working on this week. Yeah. So now you will be able to sit in the ship and you'll open the star map and it'll open to the star map, and if you are anywhere else it will open to the interior map if you have an interior map. We've also started the star map out further now, so when it will like zoom back out so you get like a view of the sort of system that you're in a little bit more rather than being like face up with a planet's texture. Another thing I've added is...
The nice part about the fact that they're still building all this stuff as we play is we can just be like, hey, do this. And they're like, oh, yeah, hey, we're working on that. And if they're not working on it, then they can be like, oh, yeah, maybe we can work on that. I'm guessing that some of the fixes we'll hear about today have come from feedback, which is always nice.
A keybind so that if you're in the star map, you can just press that and go straight into the interior map. We don't have the other way yet, but we have that way. So yeah, so it's hopefully going to work a lot more smoothly now, and you can be in the context you actually want to be in.
That sounds very cool.
Freaking love the star map.
I think before we jump in here, there's going to be a lot of conversation about, iterative development. There's this assumption that when a thing comes out, it's everything all at once. And anybody who's been paying attention to the development of Star Citizen over the years knows that that's not how it works. This is the next group of things, the group of features, the next functionality we can do, and then it will continue to evolve and iterate on subsequent patches.
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. We like to beat our head against the same pile of bricks every year, Jared, okay? That includes both doubting the feature's development and also believing in the feature's release dates. Just two different piles of bricks. Good speed. Thank you for the super chat. Good morning to you. How you doing today? Came in here to learn about some UI. UI me. That was stupid. I'm sorry. Let's get back to this. Jesus.
Some variation of that answer quite a bit tonight. Question 2. Do you plan to add filters on the interior maps and star maps so we can easily find specific POI?
So yeah, this is obviously something that we do want. So it's in the designs, it's in the documents, but it's not maybe the top priority right now. We need to get this stuff just working as good as possible, and then we'll just have to prioritize after that.
Obviously not an
Oh,
extensive...
I didn't mean he needed to stop saying stuff like that. I actually agree with him saying stuff like that. It's just fun to poke at.
list, but what kind of filters off the top of your head were you thinking about?
So it's essentially
Toilets.
what you see as the amenities. So for anyone who's been playing the PTU, you've seen that now that when you use the star map, you can click a location and then you get a list of amenities there. So you can see, oh, I can buy ships here. So essentially we would reverse that and you could say, I want to buy a ship. Where can I do that? Rather than having to go through every single place and then see, oh, I can buy a ship there.
You know,
so
it's these folks that are in charge of saying how that information is displayed in the star map, but I do wonder who is in charge of what is displayed or why. Like, who do I need to talk to, or who do I ask the questions to, who would make the call whether or not you have to acquire the information of what's at that space station? You know, is that info that I need to buy on the market? Is this in like, and I'm not talking about some, you know, straightforward,
You know that?
space station that's hanging over Hurston. I'm talking about that distant space station that's barely used. It's on the edge of the map. Nobody really goes there. Are you just automatically going to have the amenities that are at that station, or do you have to figure them out some way? I just want to know who's in charge of that. Hey, Goodspeed, thank you for the super chat. Again, appreciate you, man. Can I ask Salty Mike to unban you from Twitch chat? I am not a Salty Mike messenger, my friend. But you can put in unban requests on Twitch. It's not hard. I have no idea why he might have banned you, but that's between you and him, my friend.
it's gonna make it way nicer. But yeah.
I mean, the other thing for like the interior maps, like it's pretty much just showing like room labels and stuff. But like in the future, we're gonna have a lot more amenities that are pointed out on it, like icons depicting like here's where you buy weapons, here's where you retrieve your ship or whatever it is that's going to be useful. Then we'll have filters based on those categories. But that's in the future. We need to do some more kind of back-end work for that.
Yeah, I imagine, many of these features that are coming in 3.23 were first developed for Squadron and then are being brought over to the PU. And the PU requires a lot of additional functionality that perhaps Squadron, doesn't. Squadron's, this big sprawling single-player game, but it is a single-player game in a massively multiplayer, persistent universe with multiple star systems and stuff. There are far more considerations that need to be taken. So yeah, this first version will go in. It'll have a lot of limited functionality, and then it will continue to evolve.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that we've added on as part of this process of bringing it over from Squadron, where it was this thing that was suited for Squadron specifically, and then it goes into Star Citizen.
Tell us.
It immediately needs so much more.
Tell us about
what started
that.
out as just move it into Star Citizen has become quite a task, but I think we'll.
I guess in that respect, it's also accelerated. The robustness, like for the maps, for example, it's the fact that we need to get it in PU and working all properly with all the different systems it's also going to go back into Squadron as well. So it's not just Squadron going into PU. It's
Right.
also very all the stuff that we've done is very general, and so it'll also benefit Squadron as well.
That's good. That's not a point we often. Oh, look.
What the?
David, why don't we use this?
What?
Sorry, I just discovered.
Did he just stumble? Did he just stumble upon video transitions in the middle of the show? And it surprised him, like he wasn't expecting that.
No, you make a good point. The work on these features, like I said, all the work for Squadron serves the PU, but like it did before, and like it will continue to do, this work will still funnel back up the stream, back into Squadron and stuff. So Bo Discovered Technology says, I discovered fun thing. Look at this. Look at this.
Yo, he has manual control over it too. That's great. That's good stuff. How many systems do I think will be in Squadron 42? I think it's 2. In terms of gameplay, I believe it's in 2. Let's take a little intermission here. Yeah, I'm seeing chat. Chatters are getting in here. Good to see you folks. Get them fingers typing. I love chat. Had to get him mad for Salty to ban you. You said you asked what game he was playing. How many times you ask? I need a massive stream deck like Jared. Bro, I have nowhere in my room that could fit that thing. That is huge. Like, that's a massive controller. It's definitely not desktop ready, right? Or at least not like if you want to be on camera. You like my summation of knickknacks the best? Knickknacks helps you find things if you already know where they are. I said that. That's pretty good. That's exactly what it is too. That's a very, very good, great review. 66 of us here. Let's get those likes up. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. The YouTube likes do help on there. You asked once. I don't know, man. That is unfortunate. I would try the Discord though if the unban on Twitch requests don't work. How important do I think the FSR and DLSS implementations are going to be? Well, all optimizations are good optimizations, right? I've never used any what is it, super resolution pixel interpolation. I'm not sure what it refers to, but I've never used like DLSS or FSR or DBS or LIB or PET. I've never used any of the things to do stuff with the upscaling. Yeah, so I'm not sure how it's gonna affect the game, to be honest. I just know that optimizations help a lot. Granted, this game isn't very graphics card bound, but since they're moving more stuff to the render thread, or since they're moving more stuff off the main thread to the render thread and sending that work to the GPU, I might have butchered that, but more work is going to the GPU, so maybe that'll help there too as we move forward into the future and they keep doing more stuff like that. And global illumination is right around the corner. I believe they do want to do some kind of frame interpolation. Vulkan's multi-threading support should be part of the what helps with the processor stuff. So I think it's good as a brick in the house they're building of optimization, but I'm not sure if any one optimization thing is like way above all the others. Hey, thank you, Hawks. If you have an HDR screen, never tried it, it's really good. I unfortunately don't have an HDR screen. At least, not real HDR. It's one of those fake things that they try to do. Where they're like, yeah, it's HDR. Just don't pay attention to the fact that we just turned up your gamma. Sometimes you were just kicked out. You got banned from Maya 4 years ago because you were... Let's get back to the episode.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being easily amused. Those people are generally happier than most others. Okay, we've got several questions about pins. One of the more exciting aspects that we revealed is that you can finally, set pinpoints, markers on the verse. First question is, will our map pinpoint markers that we drop be persistent if we log out and log back in the next day?
That's definitely the plan, yeah. But
how would that not be the plan? Are they asking for 323? Because I feel like that would be crazy if our if our map markers didn't stick around, just disappear every time you log off.
A lot of back-end work that we need to look into.
Hey, thank you for the super chat, Green.
Server meshing
good speed
coming in. So a thing that happened for the 323 work that we've been doing is that we started talking about, okay, we want to get these pins in as part of the star map now, and you should be...
I've not heard of Green Hell.
Share them with people and all of that jazz. But then we looked into it and, well, it was quite hard to do, and we're getting server meshing, so everything's gonna change, and it just wouldn't work with the future.
The technical challenges. Immense. Like the pin itself, like drawing a pin on the map,
Pretty sure he just... Did he just basically tell us that we're not going to see shareable locations until after server meshing? God, I hope that's not a feature that ends up actually lagging. Oh, man. Dude, if we don't see shareable pins on the star map this year, I'm going to be so frustrated.
Welcome
Granted,
everybody. Thank you for coming in. This is your captain speaking. Tomato will
this
be
is the
with you
problem with server
shortly.
meshing. This is why server meshing is so important. Everything, morphologist, everything. Oh, it's so frustrating. Hey, dude, though, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you all. How you doing? We're going over some UI news. We're looking at the UI Q&A that just happened. And he's frustrated with 323. I feel it, man. You gave up? You end early? Did you rage quit out, man? Was it the distribution centers? Dude, was it the crash recovery? Which one? It's got to be one of those two. What's it gonna be? But yeah, we're just now covering reloaded 20 times. Oof. Oof. I am sorry to hear that, sir. My condolences to you on this difficult day, and may the Lord bless your feet as you walk this difficult path. We are currently covering the UI updates, and I'm pretty sure we just had it confirmed that shareable locations won't be a thing until after server meshing, which wrecks me on the inside. Tyrus wrecks me. It sucks to hear. It makes sense, and this is why server meshing is Jesus tech, not just because of what server meshing does for the game, but because of how many things hinge on the way server meshing works. They also talk about some juicy community features. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. That sounds nice. I like that. I like juice. As a tomato, naturally, I'm inclined to be more excited about juice than delays. So, good to hear. Good messenger. After the crash recovery and falling through the floor 4 or 5 times, you had enough, Hawks? Yeah, I feel it. I feel that. Great profile picture for Bone. He looks a little scheming on the stream. He looks like he's getting ready to cancel your star map update of 323. Say, psych. Coming with Squadron. Not tomato juice though. You're allergic. That's true. That's true. I stay away from tomato juice. Generally, I just stick to... I don't even know what I stick to. Juice. Thanks for the kind words about the last video. Last video is beautiful. Folks, if you didn't see the video Morph drop today about the new distribution centers, they're good stuff. It's classic morphologist style and quality. You got an architect reviewing what an architect reviews, which is buildings. And to be honest, I'm really excited to see how they expand. So I didn't know you were gonna review those or look into those, but I'm glad you did. Go check it out if you haven't, folks. It's you know, if you can't imagine where, on the YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure most of you probably have those recommendations. When will we see the first aliens? Well, depends on which aliens. I would guess we'd see Van Duel within the next year, maybe? Year and a half? 2 years? I think a lot of what people think is Vulkan being faster than DX11 is actually just general performance optimizations. Nonsense. They don't optimize this game. They only add features on top and never fix bugs. More if you're heading to sleep, dude. Thank you so much for stopping by and for chatting a little bit afterward. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for the raid. Much love to you. I hope that 323 treats you better. And oh, I saw you were having earthquakes, dude. I hope that like, I imagine that's scary. Especially, you know, within close proximity of other stuff recently. I hope that that's the last of it. I really do. Glad you're safe, and best wishes to you, buddy. I'll see you around, man. Get some good sleep. And good folks, remember to give them a little follow, a like, maybe blow them a kiss in the comments every once in a while on a video. It means a lot. And let's get back to UI talk, yeah? Apparently there's some good news in here. Let's go.
Fine.
Yeah.
Persist in it and in this sort of super complicated structure that we have is tricky to say the least.
That's not to say we won't work on it, just.
Oh no, we're working on it. Yes, it's just it's not that straightforward.
God.
No? Okay. So, will we be able to share the locations that we save from the star map with other players?
Yeah, for sure.
Wait. Were they just talking about placing markers? Was that? Hold on. So we dropped to percent. Oh, right. That was just talking about persistence of map markers. Oh my God. That's even worse, man. So map markers aren't going to persist until after server meshing. All right. Yeah, I know, Tommy. And the dog.
That's part of the vision again.
I know.
So you should be able to share so we can see in 323 you can place the markers on the area map, and in the future you should be able to place them on the star map, and those should be the same kind of thing. You have a list of all your markers that you placed, and you should be able to share them with your party and so on. But it will, as I just said, we will need to look into the tech of it and see how that actually works out.
And then last of the, oh, no, that's Bone. See, playing with the toys. Will we be able to set pins in space?
I think that's kind of answered now, but yes. So star map, area map, place the pins wherever you.
Oh,
pick.
like in an arbitrary bit of space.
Yeah.
Like just,
Yeah. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't break gameplay if we allow players to just actually quantum travel there. That's something we'll also have to look into, but that would be kind of neat. Place a marker, go there,
spring a trap.
yeah, meet up.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna
Server meshing, dude, and just like sometimes progress updates just feel like a punch to the armpit, you know?
play a little bit. Sorry, listen to the words. The words are what matter. What progress has been made on UI elements to assist with landing ships from the first-person pilot seat view? For example, have we considered holographic extensions of the landing pad or hangar door boundaries, ATC flight tunnels, landing cameras, directional proximity sensors, alerts, radar, LiDAR scan?
Okay, we have to go back to the olden days and check out, oh boy. Are there any, jeez, how am I going to find a video of this? Let's see if we can find a look at the old, hey, that's, oh, this is the reactive. It's like, that's what we're watching. A look at the old, yes, I know, Tommy. The old landing UI. Because what we used to have was pretty good. Here we go. STL Youngblood. A classic of the community.
Take you to the, you can see I've got, what go down the little thing, sign you can land, which one you're going to landing. So just knowing and landing in place. Way I can let me know to.
No! But did they already take it out by 2.6? Wait, how old is that? I thought it was at 2.6 you had the landing UI. Jeez, is this going to be too annoying to find? Star Citizen 2.0 landing UI. Let's see if there's like at least a picture of it out here somewhere. Used to watch that guy's videos all the time. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Is it been deleted from the internet? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? This is wild. It's just not showing up anywhere. Holographic. Let's just throw in some more words there and see if. Here we go. 2.5. Okay, let's try to start this in 2.5. Holographic. And see what comes up there. YouTube's search engine's just not very good, is it? You saw it top row? Yeah, I got a picture of it here. This is how I find a lot of my videos of old footage. You just do a lot of searches. Eventually you'll find like a thread where somebody's posted the links to some stuff, and then you just gotta scroll through the video until you find what you're looking for. And a lot of times it's not actually there. I don't actually trust whatever that picture is going to be. So, but this is at least a holographic or a quick picture of what I'm talking about. And you can see here on the bottom that like you get a holographic view of your landing pad. It shows you where your ship is in relation to the landing pad. And it was great for being able to land on landing pads. The problem was this was only built for landing pads. So it didn't work anywhere else. And after they added planetary landing, it was kind of like useless since most of the places we landed weren't on landing pads. So I'm guessing what they're going to tell us here is that they're reworking a different solution. Probably a lot like that, something that gives us a full overlay of all the surroundings of our ship, since we have a whole bunch of different areas we have to fly into anyways. And yeah, we'll probably talk about that right here. Hello, Luna Maria. Good to see you. Axis, welcome in, buddy. He does still make, well, he doesn't quite make content anymore. He was on the podcast back in November, maybe. He was on Launch Sequence. He was supposed to come on again, but then had some COVID complications and unfortunately couldn't come to the show. He's definitely taken a step back from Star Citizen stuff, but I think he'll be back. Could be that I don't see them because you stopped watching them. Oh, the should you buy? No, I think the should you buy videos still get a lot of people. Server meshing needs to work before 4.0. Yes. Yes, 4.0 launches with server meshing. You've heard that they were shooting for end of summer 2024 due to the launch of 4.0 being the same target timeline. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's looking like. All right, let's hear what they have to say about this landing UI.
And MFDs, pilot's visors. Like we've had a couple different things over the course of our development. Where are we going?
Yes.
Look right into the camera and say yes.
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 Do you want to elaborate?
Oh, no.
I think Emily might
That's how you guys should answer all the questions. Leaves us without any more questions. We understand.
have some answers.
I was just stealing her thunder a little bit.
Yeah, so there are a lot of like plans and a lot of thoughts that we have. We obviously want to have like use the AR sort of space for markers. Have like if you're going into a hangar, have like a gate bracket so that you sort of know the bounds of where you're trying to go. A like ladder sort of system, so you have like a guide to where you're trying to go. And then also we want to make use of the radar display that you have as well to actually utilize the area map tech again to display your ship and like the ground underneath you. And then obviously if you have a landing pad, it will show you your landing pad. And if you don't have a landing pad and you're just trying to land anywhere, it'll have like a line with a shadow kind of thing, and it will sort of guide you to whether you can land there, you know, whether it's flat enough, that kind of thing. So these are the sorts of things that we're thinking about doing with that.
And that'll tie into how we want to show terrain and things like that in our map system, because that's, you know, I want that to be a thing.
Are there any are there any challenges with that presented by the server meshing and everything? I mean, obviously, most times your landing stuff will just be there where you're at. But is there any, like how far out can you go? Is there other concerns that you won't be able to read parts in another shard or whatever? No. You don't want to look. Nope. They're like. Okay.
That's the thing we always find out in the last moment.
Well, I mean, like the geometry for planets and stuff is streamable, but yeah, when you start talking about being able to see other players, other locations and stuff, and whether they're exactly on your server and all this kind of stuff, that's the stuff that gets complicated.
But actually, the interesting thing to mention is when we do account for, like in our map system, when we do account for things not always being streamed in, and maybe the spaceport on the other side of the city isn't streamed in, so you can't like really see it or whatnot. And when we make that work across the board, regardless of streaming, the map should work regardless of whether things are streamed in or not. It should be totally independent of the entities that are existing. It opens us up to like look at maps of far away places anywhere that we've cataloged them. So if you're on another planet, you can see, you might be able to see the map of what you've explored and not even be there.
Okay, cool.
So that's an interesting like byproduct of that, but that it opens up, but two benefits in one.
So, sorry, chat has noticed. Yes, I'm playing. Let me have this. I don't usually have the control. All right, so we had 6 questions, important questions, but relatively softballs, if you will. The big question here that I think most people have wanted to know. Not going to sugarcoat it. What's up with the UI being so holographic it can become unreadable at some times?
All right,
What's up
sorry.
with that? What's going on?
More. We want more.
More
Holographic. Just put it all on there. Make it.
This
make
is
it
an
work.
exciting one. Look forward to seeing how they answer this.
I hope everyone saw the my phone 900 years in the future meme. That was a good one. It was very holographic. Yes. So I think
We have a line to tread.
yeah.
So we want it to look cool, right? But we want to be able to use it at the same time. So there's a balance to be had. Like we're not going to release something that looks like a vanilla web page, that's just black on white, black text on white background for all the UI.
For
I
sure.
want it to look like a
There's
command
the
prompt.
extreme where you've got all
I
this
want my star map to look at like my Windows 98 command prompt, please. Thank you.
chromatic aberration and bloom and fog and effects and stuff going on, and it's not particularly readable and it's difficult on the eye. So we've got to find a balance where it looks cool and it's diegetic and it's in the world and it looks futuristic, but ultimately very usable. Like you've got to be able to use it and it's not got to be bad on the eyes.
No, and I think with the mobiGlass in particular, because I think that was maybe the worst offender in this case. It's supposed to be this holographic thing, so it got a bit over the top, and
we got overexcited.
Yeah, exactly. It can look even cooler, but no, we very much appreciate the feedback, and I think everyone's very happy with it.
We very much appreciate all your gnashing of teeth. Hey man, but you can't say that they don't listen. They at least they see where people are annoyed with what's going on, and I don't know if I didn't really pay attention that much at the beginning of the Evocati or PTU cycles. But at least now, and you can see in my video I just released about 323, I feel like the hologram, the sort of double text is definitely a lot more tuned down. And I think that might be them just implementing some fixes based on feedback over this cycle.
That we've got now, and it's coming out really well.
But we're still dialing that in to
for sure.
to get the tone right.
It'll be a continuous process.
If you want to hear about the changes in ship prices, I would go check out Star Citizen Live January something 22nd. I don't know. It's called All About 3.23. At the end of that video, they talk about the economy changes and the changes to ship prices specifically.
Process, and there's also some graphical fixes that we've fixed recently as well. Like I think on some of the low res render to texture stuff, it's there's actually some color correction weirdness going on that the graphics team has fixed. So that's probably going to increase a little bit, like the brightness of some of the elements, because now the colors are consistent between low res and full res render to texture. And there's also some sorting issues that we need to work out into the system with regard to 3D planes and 3D objects. There's sorting issues that we've sort of fixed, but there's a proper solution we're going to do post 3.2.3. Looking at.
So it sounds like some of it is technical, some of it is bugs, things not working the way that they're intended.
Yes.
And then some of it is style. Some of it is pushing to find this happy medium.
Finding a balance of like good art but good usability.
Because if there's a 3D plane in the world that's behind another, like the thing that's trying to render a drop shadow over or whatever, it's the thing that's over it, and when it's sorted incorrectly, you're going to null out any of the benefits of the backdrop or the drop shadow or whatever we put in. So
and some of the diegetic UIs are in the world, so they receive the same world post-process effects, so like chromatic aberration and the bloom and all these kind of things. So it's trying to combat them sometimes to make things perfectly readable, but because we're doing a diegetic game, because these things in the world, you can't just sort of say, hey, don't apply these effects, because it would look really, really strange. It would look really out of place and like a game, rather than like a game as in like just putting stuff on it over the top of the screen after you've rendered the game world. We're not really after that kind of look. It's meant to look like it's part of the scene. So these, kiosks or even the mobiGlas are part of the game world.
I'm looking at chat here while you folks are talking. I want to stay on this topic for a little bit longer. Some of the folks in chat, not just chat today, but I've seen YouTube comments and Spectrum comments and stuff.
I want to know, what do you guys think of this? This whole idea of UI being in the game as opposed to like a standalone menu. I think one of the best examples of these kinds of UIs, so you could name quite a few good games too off the top of your head that do really well. I think Metro Exodus had a good one. Prey does this, where you interact with the actual computer screens. I want to say Dead Space was kind of like this, where the interface lived in the game. Just like generally a lot of immersive sims do this kind of thing. Do you guys find it to be distracting though? Does it end up complicating the UI experience too much for you, or are you more of a fan of that, like the immersion of that? Because I think it works for them in some ways, but it definitely makes all this UI stuff a little more complicated. Because then you have little tiny UIs that are in different, they're like not quite the same as what you're updating, so they don't really work the same. For instance, elevator buttons right now aren't getting updated to be more of that kind of interactive, lived-in sort of use as everything else. You still have to like click on elevator buttons instead of using that new piss pie system that they came up with. And it's kind of like, does that make it too hard for them to keep up with everything? Especially as we start to expand to a bunch of different stuff. They need to blend menus with environmental UI, such as MFDs and elevators and whatnot. Yeah, they can't get away with it. Can't get away from it now because they've got MFDs and everything. Have you seen the old landing UI from 7 years ago? We were just going over that actually, just a couple minutes ago. You like in Universe 1 for this kind of game? You don't mind them more in other video games? Okay. You like being all in-game, but you disagree that holographic doesn't equal open.
The common suggestion is, why don't you just start with readability and then add style later? and dial up. Well, it's this idea of start with a base and then build on top of it, instead of the sculptor approach, which start with all this and then start peeling back. There are benefits to both ways. Why do we do it the way we do it?
I think we do start with readability, but it's internally, right? That's not what the players get to see first, because we make our wireframe designs and we make it like, okay, this is what this mobileS app is doing and this is how we want to interact with it, and that's all fine. So let's move on to the art pass, and then it's more where can we get the coolness factor into this? And I think it's good that we're not like ashamed of that, and also that we can dial it back when we've done something wrong, when we've gone overboard. But I think we do have a strong like visual identity with all of these different sci-fi styles and different brand styles and so on. And yeah, we are doing a good job of really pushing for that, for keeping that consistent and making it feel like a coherent world where all of these things exist. And yeah, sometimes it makes for a lesser user experience, and that's obviously not great, and we want to improve that, and that's why we're super happy to get this feedback from players. But we never want to end up in a place where we just remove all the different styles and everything and just go, okay, here's the most legible font in the world, let's just put that right there in the best size.
Yeah, I want my
place.
mobileGlass to only use impact font.
It's always a
exclusively.
balance.
And I think a lot of the times it actually can start out like very having like a high level of contrast. We've done a visual, like an initial visual polish pass on it, and then we'll get very focused on actually doing all the functionality and like the holo volume changes to a window, and then we're doing all the functionality based on that, and we just haven't had a visual polish pass until the end, because we're focused on sort of the back end, the code, and the functionality, like all the really base foundational stuff, and then pretty much just near the end we're starting to finally do much more of the visual polish pass again. So
there's this thing that happens. I don't think I'm telling any story. I don't think I'm gonna say something. I don't think it's going to be any surprise to folks who followed the project for a decade and so. We worked to the last minute and then beyond. And that's kind of
Fix it in post.
RSI, CIG, DNA at that point. There are lots of projects where you work on a thing and then you stop and you kind of go gold, and then it just kind of sits there for a while. There's bug fixes and stuff. Marketing gets to come in and do their stuff. We put these things out, while they're still being worked on. That's what Diegetic is. That's what PTU is. What players are playing right now. Even the live alpha is still alpha. It's still an unfinished a product. And I think a lot of times, just because I've seen the reactions, sometimes it's a lot of times this thing goes out and it's like, couldn't we have just another week or two to dial that in before it goes out and stuff? Does that drive you crazy?
That was them about persistent hangers.
Part of who we are and stuff like this. We're going off the reservation here a little bit, but talk to me about this. This is a very real phenomenon. It affects everything.
It does.
Talk to me about how you deal with it.
People ask like, what's frustrating about covering Star Citizen, or is it hard? Star Citizen is a blessing to cover because, well, I've never covered other games. Briefly covered Halo, Cyberpunk, and Starfield, super briefly. But something I've always noticed about other games, and definitely people that have covered other games since I started covering Star Citizen, is you have to keep moving, because other games generally will stand still at some point. They literally never stand still. It's because they're making a game, and thank God that's the way it is. I feel bad for all those people who are like into a crowdfunded game with an early access thing and they get an update on what's going on twice a year. That sucks. So that's a blessing when it comes to SC. But also, everything changes all the time. The video I put out 2 days ago, I had to rewrite like 4 different times after it was already edited, because the ePTU is changing like every 2 days and something else is happening. And if you said this and they fix that, then you can't leave that in. And it's like, that's part of covering the ePTU. Like, I'm not complaining about that, but that's like just how it is to cover this game. They'll just say stuff. I mean, you guys see it. You are watching the news. You're looking at what's coming out of CIG, and every once in a while, they just kind of drop something, right, out of nowhere. Or maybe they planned on doing something, and then you're like, is it going to happen on Saturday? Or is it going to be a Friday? Or is it next Monday? Like, how does that work? And then they suddenly do it a week early or 2 weeks late. Just like, it's crazy covering the game. And yeah, they definitely do things last minute and up till the last minute. And I both appreciate that and loathe it. But it is pretty cool. I like it. It's fun. It's good times.
No, it's for me. I guess it's quite exhilarating in a way, but I always wish there's just one more week. Just let me play around a little bit more with the materials. Let me
just one more turn.
Let me maybe put some animation in, and make it a little more polished, or more feedback. Like right now, I need to put in the routing feedback. So when you press R, right now it silently fails, and you're like, why isn't it doing anything? So if you have that, then it's like it's just a little bit, like a small bit that makes it feel a bit more polished.
Better.
Yeah, it's 1%.
Yeah.
And then when you fix
better.
that, there's another thing you think, oh,
Exactly.
it'd be cool if we put this in as well.
Issue, right?
It's always one more turn.
There's another thing.
You can always keep improving, and that's just the process of design, right? So if we kept adding this one more week all the time, we would just be driven insane, and nothing would ever release. So
Hold the fucking phone. Did they just describe Squadron 42? Hold on, go back. Is that real time?
we
Play it
kept
again.
adding
Play it
this
again, Todd.
one more week all the time, we would just be driven insane, and nothing would ever release.
That's us. We're the insane ones. We thought Squadron 42 was coming out 7 years ago. Damn. That dreaded forever polish. No, it's partially in jest, but no, seriously, like, we know that at the very least, Chris Roberts, by reputation, is going to want Squadron 42 to be polished like the Piston Cup. And I imagine that's where that's where like a lot of the little details come from, and we'll see it in the game for sure. It's just funny that they're saying it here. No?
So
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Battery change.
Who?
A lie.
Whose battery?
Yours.
Oh. My battery's out?
So we do.
Oh. Hold on, everybody. I see the thing, so they're hearing me through somebody else.
See, this is what happens when you don't have a manager. This is why you always see me doing tech stuff on the stream.
Oh, here. Hi, Pete.
Well, I have a manager, but like a tech person. Whole
Wait, I have a second.
directors team in the background. There you go. See, that's what you need. Mrs. Tomato, can you get one of these to throw up on the screen whenever I have a problem? Also, this is great music. Does anybody know what this song is? Is this going to get me a copyright strike?
Oh, who is that? Who is that? Liam Donnelly says, "Good riddance." Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Liam
wow.
Donnelly. I'm back. Sorry.
What?
Right.
What is,
So
what's wrong with these people? Why are you even on the show if you're going to say something like that? Good
let's
lord.
stay on this topic of readability. Obviously, the hologram stuff we just got done talking about. One of the forever discussion points is color stuff. Colorblind stuff. Just everybody in chat type drop shadow all at one time right now. Press F for drop shadow. One to drop shadow, just fix fix everything. Talk to me about readability. What are we doing? What's going on here?
Oh my God. Readability. Yeah, it's it's not as straightforward to solve as we thought it would be. We have a constant battle with this, partly to do with exposure compensation, i.e. when something's super bright, your eye adapts to that brightness and changes the brightness levels of the scene. Obviously, there's the problems of drawing some coloured text onto a black background, i.e. a starry night, and then all of a sudden you're on a snowy backdrop. How do you compensate for that? We've still got a few more irons in the fire, especially on vehicle hoods, about what we're going to do to solve this and not just drop shadow. I think what we've got on the lens now, on the AR stuff, is really going in the right direction. It's still needs tweaking, but we're pretty happy with that. But we've still got issues with like the head-up display that are on vehicles, and the exposure compensation on MFDs. We still need to look into, but yeah, it's weirdly tricky. The more diegetic you are, the more you sort of buy into the idea that these things are in world and you're not cheating and you're not just drawing over the top of the screen with some flat UI like you do for like I used to work on driving games years and years ago, and like you draw the world and you draw the car and then you draw like a hood flat over the top, and that would be like crystal clear and you could see your lap time and stuff. Whereas this is entirely different, and the fact as soon as you put stuff in the world, obviously it can be at angles and the sun can shine on it, or a big shadow goes across it, and you know, even your mobile phone has a lot of exposure compensation to compensate. Not your eyes have exposure compensation, but phones have exposure compensation. So if you bring it out in direct sunlight, it's super bright, and if you get it out like under the covers in bed, it's all dark and stuff. I don't know why you'd be getting out your phone under covers in bed, but maybe that's just me. Might swerve away from this conversation.
But in the future, things, yeah, we do want settings for color blindness, and we do want settings for being able to set font sizes and so on. But that's still.
Oh, he definitely
completely.
He definitely just picked the camera scene here because the guy was flying it past.
Offshoot of this, where I mean, I think is it 1 in 12 males have some form of color blindness, and some of the colors we've chosen that don't really work with people that suffer from certain types of color blindness problems.
No, and again, we have all of the different manufacturers and so on, different styles for every ship. So it's like, oh yeah, this ship works great, and then in another one you didn't at all understand that you were dying or whatever.
Well, you know, I blame the manufacturer.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, yes, we're going to put the settings in that will combat that problem, but also accessibility options for changing the font sizes. This obviously has an impact on the sort of graphic design look that we initially have, but essentially it will become usable for people that have issues reading the font sizes or the particular colors that maybe that manufacturer
Accessibility is pretty dang important when it comes to UI, and I see a lot of people say that they've already lost the plot because they didn't do it before they built these UI and they're waiting too long, or just general questions about it. And it's good that they're talking about it here, because that is it's important to get to, and I think it's worth giving them credit that they're building the system and they probably have a decent idea of how they want to integrate accessibility stuff. Hopefully, though, it does come sooner than later, especially with the way that they're starting to treat the game.
Yes, yes, and yes again for options to help with people with color blindness, or for font size accessibility options as well.
And in addition to that, like as we start really converting all of the legacy UI into building blocks, our new tech, it's all fully data driven now, so we can just, that makes it much easier to just like transform values where we need to like inject a scaler if you want to have bigger fonts or lower size fonts, and also colors. It's all data driven, so it makes that much easier.
I feel like
It's not static anymore.
I feel like we've been talking about building blocks since 2018. Maybe we have to stop calling it our new. just looking at the chat.
What's good about it is we're not talking about building blocks 2. We are happy where we're at with this, right?
Yeah. Building blocks itself has grown. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Building blocks continues to evolve. You continue to add new functionality.
We need to like optimize it greatly. There's still a lot of optimization work that we need to do.
That's kind of down to weirdly, it's like a victim of its own success. This happens a lot with our game where we go, oh, we've optimized like entities, like someone puts 1,000 entities in, and it's running slow. Okay, well we've made it run twice as quick or whatever. Oh, that's great. We've now put 3,000 entities in, and then within a couple of years, right? It's now 300,000 entities in because it's a battle. Well, battle's a bit negative, but it's a virtuous circle. Like we speed things up, you can do more stuff. We speed things up, you can do more stuff. And it's the same with the UI. So we speed building blocks up.
It's like whenever it was like anywhere from 2010 to 2018 when it came to smartphones, they'd be like, yeah, we managed to fit this much of a bigger battery in the phone. The technology, we made the phone so much thinner, but still with the bigger battery. And you're like, okay, cool, yeah, nice battery. And they're like, and we've also got the processor doing this many more actions. You're like, okay, well, why are you telling me about the bigger battery if I'm not going to actually have a battery increase? They're just like, yeah, bigger battery, phone do more things. And then you don't actually get to see the bigger battery.
Started off with tens of nodes, and now we talk about hundreds of nodes, and we're looking to do thousands of nodes in like a millisecond. So there's lots of optimizations, but doing the optimizations just means we can do more and more cool stuff, and like lots of little widgets and stuff, and all moving and animating and stuff like that.
A virtuous circle. I like that, virtuous circle.
I've been a bit more positive.
That looks like a little one of those old cartoons when they pop in with the little thing and the stuff.
I like that, virtuous circle.
I've been a bit more positive.
Made Pete laugh. Citizen Scott says, forget readability. I just hate blue. That's what Citizen Scott says.
Scott, are you in here? Are you in here, Citizen Scott? What do you mean you hate blue? Come on, man. Come on. You gotta like blue. If without blue, you can't tell how great red is. Okay? Gotta pay some respect.
All right. So it sounds like, I'm not going to sit here and try to sum all of that up, but it sounds like the biggest factor of many factors is the fact that our UI isn't just drawn on top of the game like it is in so many other games. It is a fully diegetic in-universe component, because that's what we've chosen to do. We've chosen to do that so that all the environmental effects and everything, the things that seem like a bug are actually a feature in some ways. We still need to account for that stuff and still need to dial that in.
So if you, I can't remember the effect, but like there's a desaturation effect, right, where everything sort of goes black and white and everything goes a bit hazy. Like the UI goes black and white with it, like because it's in world. So at that point it loses its color. So it's the same thing, or there's things where you get this extreme.
There you go, Scott. You just have to constantly keep yourself on the edge of death so that your character can't see color. You just got to drain the blood out of your head until you experience color blindness. And then you're good. You're free of blue. Not a worry in the world. Blue leaves you alone. Giving Blue. Isn't that the book? Didn't we read that book as a kid, Giving Blue or something like that? Pushing Blue? No, I think that was the story about crystal meth, pushing blue. Something like that. I don't know. Getting my childhood stories mixed up.
Post-process effect. I think it's like when you're too thirsty, whatever the word is for too thirsty. Dehydrated, thank you. Yes. Like we get this like really chromatic aberration, and it affects the UI because it's in the world. Like you're trying to read your phone and you really need a drink.
Yeah, and as you've seen in for the shopping, now we moved the UI to be in world as well, and that just made it for such a big challenge to implement. It is a tough thing to do.
If you haven't seen the shopping UI, I actually just posted a clip of this on the old Twitter. I won't go there for the actual clip because I got it here on the computer too. Check this out. If you haven't gotten to see it already, it is in the video I just posted about the features, but here's what the shopping UI looks like. Tell me what you think of this. That's the process. I don't know if you can hear that sound. It might be pretty quiet. I like the sound effects of it. But this is, you still have the kiosks on the wall to buy in bulk. This is more to buy stuff off the counter. I think I like it. I think it's fairly good. Somebody on my thread though posted that it seems more cumbersome than scrolling through the mobiGlass list, and I'm like, I'm guessing maybe they mean the walking around to items being more cumbersome. Because it feels like they made this specifically, and they're talking about it right now in this show. They made it specifically so you don't have to scroll through a menu. And like, it was made to be better in person. Browser sounds are lower than your voice. Yeah, I figured. That video clip recorded super, super quiet. Good old-fashioned DOS prompt green. Yeah, man, make my mobiGlass look like a Pip-Boy. Can't imagine your work being ripped apart publicly while you're sitting there on a stage. Oh, boy. Yeah, see, that's why I wouldn't want to... Oh, wait. Kind of do that. I wouldn't want to work in a game development space, I think. Gamers are intense. We also cater to gamers. Yeah, I don't know. It's... I feel for them, too. I'll say that much. Seems much quicker if all you need is one item. Yeah, it's like a one button push. It works well when you actually mouse over the target in question. Often though the item in question isn't either set up or available. Yes, that isn't a complaint I had too. Holding F scrambling with the mouse to open a mobiGlass screen to then click a button to confirm purchase versus holding F for 3 seconds. That's what I thought. You'd rather press a single button multiple times than use the mobiGlass to buy multiple. Y'all be hating the mobiGlass, huh? Public enemy number 1. Now that the star map is fixed. Wait, the mobiGlass is fixed too. Oh no. What do we do?
I think that's the bottom line, but we are adamant about this is our way. This is how we do the things, and it should feel real. It should feel tangible, and yeah, I think that's the bottom line.
Revan Z says, show us some teasers. That's the other show. So the other show. We just did a whole thing about all this stuff we're talking about. It was on the other show. Watch the other show.
More teasers.
mobiGlass. What other mobiGlass apps can we look forward to? Any hints of integration with something like Spectrum?
Galactopedia. Oh, Spectrum would be good.
For the mobiGlass, you...
Org tools, VoIP stuff, Galactopedia. Come on.
If you've seen the new one, anyway, there's some apps that we obviously didn't update. So for the future, we will have that. The comms app will be replaced by something helping you do your org stuff instead, maybe. So that will be playing into...
All right. It's deep dive time, folks. Let's go back in the history books. If they're bringing up org stuff, then we have to find out where they said we were going to be seeing some org stuff. Love these sessions. Come with me. Join me. 6 years in the past. As we look at what Chris Roberts had to say about org things. Where are we?
You know, I long time ago talked about Death of a Spaceman. That's very much on you. That gets reset every day that you come. The actions will universe and we'll stream it back in, even if it's
come on. Where are we? Here we go.
Equivalent of a Cessna or a
oh yes, 2018, folks, the good years.
There's only like one nation.
Hey, okay, but for what it's worth, before we get to this part, this right here is where they set out server meshing as the goal.
That I'm not going to.
Where is it?
That's when we're not going to be resetting the servers. It's when it will be ongoing living breathing game. And a very, very important part, the 11th pillar. And the last one, if we go forward, Paul, is server meshing. So when we get server meshing, that is, we think, the last piece of the puzzle to have the full game experience. And this is our ability to go, right now we have about 50 players on.
This one moment is probably why they're starting to talk 1.0 right now. Because all the way back here in 2018, server meshing was their goal, right? That's what they set out for people to be excited about coming next. Now they've got nothing. I mean, it's hyperbolic. They don't have nothing. They have a pretty solid game being built, but they need a new target, and they're not going to say Star Citizen 5.0, right? Like, it's just that we know that it might be 5.0, but we know they're heading towards a beta. So they're either going to say beta or 1.0, and I think 1.0 makes the most sense since beta is likely going to be a fairly short thing in comparison. So I think it's like another 3-year goal kind of thing, just like server meshing was. Either way, the reason we came here, org tools.
Equivalent of a Cessna or a nuclear carrier. And there's only like one nation on Earth, the one we're in right now, that can afford to spend $10 billion on a nuclear carrier. But we in our game sort of allow the player to have that huge range. So you've got to figure out how we make that work on an economic basis on the low end and progressing to the high end. So I'm sure it'll take a bit of time to dial it in. But it's a major point for us. So let's move forward. And that shall be in 3.3. So then the next big pillar, and there's 12 pillars that Erin, Tony, Todd, myself identified that we felt were really important. And the organization system, so we already have a version of it online, but this is the organization system inside the game. So you can get your org mates together, you can do things like assign out roles or missions or cost share or revenue share, specify ties for the group, or however you would like to organize
taxes, my friends.
Modules for communication reasons, and we want to move that in so build it further out on the website for some of that stuff, and then bring it across into the game, and you have all that.
They didn't even build it out on the website.
You and your friends can create your organizations or groups as small or as big as you want.
Like.
And then we move forward.
Hey, look at this list of things. This is not a small list. On here you have things like Star Citizen 3.0, object container streaming, planetary tech, freaking ship purchasing. Like, these are huge items. Organization system, persistence, PES, right? The 318's Big Bane. And then, obviously, the big bad guy at the end, server meshing. These are, like, massive systems. And they just kind of skipped organization. They just completely passed over that without even talking about it for, like, 6 years now. So, I think I might be wrong. But I feel like this might be the first time a developer has come out on the screen and acknowledged organization systems and what we might want from it again. So hopefully they get a little bit more in depth with it. Let's see what they say.
A lot of social things, and we'll be updating. Knickknacks will also it will essentially be replaced by a new app coming sometime in the future, but it's going to be a better user experience to keep track of all of your things.
Like I was apparently quoted saying, I don't know. Knickknack is a great app for finding things you already know where they are, and like it, man, that really it communicates it so well. Knickknacks is the app that lets you find things only if you specifically click into the location where they are. Why? Why can't I search for things? I'm glad that's getting replaced. I wonder what by.
Coming sometime in the future, but it's going to be a better user experience to keep track of all of your things. Oh, Jared is going to beat me up now.
You said org stuff. What org stuff?
All the secrets.
What org stuff, Gabriel?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Did I already click out of it? I already did.
That's all we want, man. It's been so long. It was like CitizenCon 2013 when we introduced org stuff. It's still not in game.
Dang it.
Well, you heard it here first.
What did I hear? Tell us what you heard.
We just looked. It was indeed CitizenCon 2018. Tell us more.
Orgs. You're gonna have a dedicated app to do all your org communications, and well, there's a lot of things that we have grand plans for, but yeah, I don't want to say more than that at this point.
This isn't the place we're gonna.
No, because if he did, every single one of us motherfuckers with a computer and editing software would have made videos about, oh, the org app is coming, and it's probably not going to be here for a while.
We're gonna share them, but yes, folks, you've been patient. I know.
There probably are already going to be videos talking about org stuff. It's big. You can't deny that it's not big at this point. If you want to enjoy Star Citizen, doesn't matter if you play in a group or you don't play in a group, or you hate people, or you love dogs. I don't like anything that you might care about. Could be true, but there's no denying that having a group of people who are held accountable to a group of rules that you can agree on is helpful, because they run things like Jumptown, and they run things like Xenothreat, and different dynamic events, and there are gameplay aspects that come into the game that may require more than one person to test. And all of these things are things you can do with random people, sure, but like if you have people that you know you can trust, or at least go to the administration of this group to tell them, hey, this person just pooped in my cockpit and I told them they can't do that. Can you kick them out of the org? And then that person can be like, no, we as an org, we believe in pooping in cockpits. And you can be like, okay, this isn't the org for me, and find another one. But like you have that choice, and that backup is good. And, you know, I wouldn't say get into an org because you want to move up in it or take charge of it or anything like that, but just have something to back you up in the back pocket. And for that reason alone, I feel like it's super important that they get better org tools in the game. Start being able to suggest orgs based on what they offer or what they teach or who their makeup is. Like orgs in certain parts of the world that play on certain time zones. It's so hard to find orgs. And, yeah, especially ones that support pooping in cockpits, I guess, according to possibly chat. But yeah, I think finding an org is good, and getting org tools, the faster they do that, the more people are going to use orgs anyways.
Just a little while longer. I'm not even going to say a little while longer. Just some point, some indeterminate amount of time longer. All right. Is there a plan to avoid HUD clutter? Such as, you know, when all the markers end up overlapping each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we are currently looking into a design for how we want to solve this. So there's a lot of different issues at once, and I think the short answer is just yes, there's a plan. We still have things to figure out, so it's in the future.
Like,
But
can we remove HUD items? That'd be cool.
For sure, getting it. And you can already see that we have improved the quantum stuff for 323. Way less quantum markers. You don't get this
Can
massive
confirm.
circle of
Oh my gosh. It used to drive me nuts, the arrows around your screen when you're quantum traveling and you just got arrows everywhere. Like, what do I do with this? Now they're only on screen if you're kind of looking near them, which is really nice.
100 markers everywhere you look. So that's a start. So we're doing things, but it will get better.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask, what caused that, and why did it take so long to resolve? Like we've had the screen surrounded by quantum markers for what seems like at least half of our playable game time here. Well, what took so long, and what caused it, and how do we fix it?
I think I might have caused it.
Sounds about right.
I might have dropped myself in it, but yeah, we talked about show other points of interest. We show other points of interest. It turns out there's a lot of interesting points in the universe. Yeah, it was about filtering, right? So filtering what you want was really tricky. So it just didn't happen for a long time. So because you can't filter by distance because you obviously want to go to places far away. So yeah, it was an extremely tricky problem to solve again, and it's taken this long to actually get to a usable solution. Like when we talk about the markers, like we've had long discussions about, well, let's merge markers together when they start overlapping. Right? So, well, do you have enough information? You know, if you merge one of your friends with a planet, right? Yeah. Like, do you get the information about that kind of stuff? Like, yes, it's not. You don't have the information where you just get a blob of overlapping text.
It just says Hurstenbone.
You know, do you make them avoid each other, or do you make them like, hey?
Qt markers right now, they just don't appear until they're within like maybe a 10-degree cone around your reticule.
Deeply tricky problems to solve in a sort of systemic way. Everything needs to be systemic. We can't just say, oh right, here's just a rule set, because the rule set is endlessly complicated because we have an endlessly complicated game.
Yeah, no, you hit it right there. That's actually you've said the thing I didn't know what I was waiting to hear, but you said it. The systemic
love a fiance getting home early. That's awesome.
Or what takes so long. Like it would be easy enough to go in there and stick a proverbial patch on something and just stop it. You know, stop it temporarily. But everybody knows the most permanent solution the most permanent thing in any video game is a temporary solution, and it would end up just blocking and breaking a bunch of things down the line. It's, you know, we always look for these broader systemic solutions that can keep solving these problems as we add new things.
And when we don't, we always get tripped up. Like if we sort of cheat, like saying, oh well, let's just, you know, and come up with some budgie rule, right? We always get tripped up by it because something else comes along. And again, when I've worked on more traditional video games, let's say driving games, like you would only like draw away. If you were going to draw the world, you only have to draw enough of the world away from the track. Whereas in Star Citizen, you can go anywhere, and all these things interact with each other in a systemic way. You have to find a solution that works correctly all the time, and yeah, we've really made a challenge for ourselves to do that.
Yeah, but we are working on it.
Love it though.
I think if you ask the same question about other things, why it's been there and taking so long, and it's been there for years, it's because it's an old system. We don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. You know, it's a waste of time.
It's like, ew, fucking gross.
Because we have this new system that we're working on, and all the focus.
It can't. This kind of line can't be said enough too. I feel like that has to be said over and over and over again. So a lot of times people are like, why don't they just put something in to fix this real quick? And I'm sure sometimes it might work, but a lot of the times I bet it's like the headache that it might cause to do something temporary. I mean, I even feel that way when I'm making videos. Like I don't want to go outside of my normal way of editing a video because I know that I'm not going to keep up with that, and I can't really work it into my system of work to be efficient. It's just like a one-off thing, and it might set me up so that people have some kind of expectations on videos like that, and I can't keep doing that. And it's like, I get where they're coming from in that sense. It's not the exact same, but I see it.
Ideally, should be directed towards that. We're in the middle of development.
Yeah, and for this question specifically, like the marker system has now been reworked. We have a new marker system, so it's no longer in Flash. We can actually start looking into this. We now know exactly how things are done, and we have, we have our best men at it.
The bearded blink in chat says, search bars and scrollable chat. Anything, search bars and scrollable chat?
Scrollable chat, for sure. That's the thing. That's in 323, as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but yeah. And search bars in general, we're for most new designs, we're looking at adding search functionality. Emily, I don't know.
I love it on the map.
Did some stuff for the star map.
Yeah, the star map has search. Obviously.
Cool.
I mean, I know the chat was we basically just reskinned the chat, but I think the long-term plan is to overhaul that system.
The chat has some changes. I think there's some changes to the chat. I worked on like a very early version of it to have like different tabs. I assume that.
Yeah. The new chat is very nice to use. I think people are going to be very happy with that, but it will also be improved down the line.
The content of the chat notwithstanding.
Yeah, exactly. That's up to you people.
Thank you, Rykops.
Arc VR says, FPS Compass needs help. Let's talk to about our next question. The new latitude, longitude, altitude readout in the map is amazing. Although
First
altitude
guide.
is given as a distance from the center of the planet, and latitudes are inverted from the North Pole at the bottom, the compass is pointing towards a point at the equator, not to any of the poles. Is this an intentional choice to confuse us, or is the North Pole merely on a temporary summer vacation?
Sounds like our job is done there, right? Or, no?
I think
Lord Skippy has been hurting from this one. I'm sure he's happy to hear an answer.
I think even
Some
the
answer.
question explains some complexities.
Yeah. So we do have a new design for this stuff, and it's been simmering in the background, but it's not been the top priority thing when we're looking at bringing all these new cool features. Like obviously we now do have the compass strip on the HUD and everything, but there's still tuning to do, and yes, all of those things are the goal. That's the end goal. Like we have decisions have been made on how this should be implemented, but they have not been.
We're not just supposed to have a beautiful mind to figure this thing out.
Well, so far, but not forever.
Okay.
All right, soon. This feels a lot like a more old-fashioned Star Citizen Live, but this is actually, I was talking at the beginning of this whole thing about how they've changed the style of these shows a little bit, and this is more in line with what Star Citizen Live was like, is them talking more about the stuff that's not coming in the next patch, but rather is further down the line. Usually ends with a lot of just kind of, yeah, we'll get to that at some point answers, and I think that's why this quarter specifically has, I think, had more interesting shows. It's not always like this, but sometimes it ends up being.
It does. The circular quick interact menu, I think it's Pipus. Why does the circular quick interact menu look so different to all the other UI elements?
We didn't have time. I think that's the bottom line.
Isn't this because it's not effectively in-world, right?
Well, I also think it's that we didn't have time.
It's in your head.
Yeah.
Not your head.
It is in your head, but it didn't. We do have a new restyled version of it. Yeah. So I think my suspicion is that since we do have the style mock-up, hopefully we'll get that style.
I think it's the mustache and the glasses, but I get a lot of Riley vibes from this, from the Linus Tech Tips group. If he grew his hair out, maybe.
In game, it should fit with the other UI. That's.
But you do make a good point. It is, we just got done talking about all of these diegetic in-universe elements, but the personal interaction system is not. That is actually a visualization, a sci-fi visualization of a choice matrix in your head. So, like, I suppose it should look different.
Yeah,
but
makes sense. Maybe it doesn't have a brand at least. My mind is branded by ages.
Yikes.
Oh, now I'm thinking. All right. Are there plans to make the UI UX of the cockpit view be as good as the external Starship view?
So, this is someone being a bit funny, I think. The external Starship view has no UI at all.
I was gonna say.
It's very... that's it. But I don't think there's a plan to do that. We won't go that far, but we are working on the HUD experience for ships for sure. That's a big one, and it's gonna be cleaner, and we're gonna add more options for people to turn off things that they don't want to bother them when they're flying around. Also, just looking at the new flight mode that we're getting in 3.23. It's a very clean experience. It's very nice to just fly around in flight mode and enjoy that. So that's not quantum, because
I think that should be the default mode.
Less markers than before, but then you can go into flight and just do the thing.
But I guess they want players to have shields up.
It's nice.
I'm
So they
glad
don't
you
blow up.
figured it out. I was sitting there, I'm like, there is no UI in the thing. What is he talking about? and Gabriel's like, he's trolling. Or she, I don't know.
So I was thinking the other way around, which is, can you see the UI from outside the ships? Which we're also... No, we are.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's not diegetic.
No, as in you can see through the cockpit and see, if someone's flying a ship and you're like EVAing behind them, you can see their UI, right?
Oh,
Like
that thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Because that's like being on the bridge of a ship, right? You can walk around and see what people are doing on their various consoles and stuff. So you could EVA and like
take a sneak peek.
check out what you're doing.
Yeah,
like,
what you're doing there on your Moby glass.
Yeah.
I see you writing those messages. in Moby.
Okay, we got time for a few more questions. Will planets in the star map be an actual render from the real ones, as in zoom in on any location and be able to some degree, see the terrain as it is on the real planet?
Yes, this is something that I really want to do, and it's basically a
Want to do.
yeah. I mean, we should have like a planet view. You know, I think I would, and it's basically like almost like Google Earth. You can scroll in and see any portion of the terrain, and but you might not see all of the like things that you've discovered, right? Like off the bat, you can see the base terrain, but like as you find things, derelicts and caves and mining resources and things like that, then they'll start showing up kind of along with that and integrated into that map. And it's also probably also going to tie into
I just totally blanked on that. Go back. What did he say?
And it's basically like...
Then zoom in on any location.
Good Lord.
This
Sorry.
is something that I really want to do. And it's basically a... yeah, I mean, we should have like a planet view. You know, I think I would... And it's basically like almost like Google Earth. You can scroll in and see any portion of the terrain.
Yeah.
And... but you might not see all of the like things that you've discovered, right? Like off the bat, you can see the base terrain, but like as you find things, derelicts and caves and mining resources and things like that, then they'll start showing up, kind of along with that and integrated into that.
Yeah. Yes. Zane, yes. And talk to us about what happens when we discover those things and how we can share them and what they do when we share them and how we can sell them and where we sell them and what difference it makes and who sell them to and mission makers and data running. Please, more exploration. Please, please. We're so close. For all of you who joined Star Citizen because you just wanted to like go out and find stuff, like, and I don't mean like star systems, like you could find resources, you could find cool places, just anything that you can find and then sell for some money and make a living and play the game like that. I'm with you. I'm there with you. I feel it. I feel like so many people are waiting for this, and it has been some of the longest to take stuff for reasons, obviously. You can't have exploration if you don't have things to find, and they've been building out the locations and points of interest and items and all that kind of stuff for a while. And it feels like they're getting close, but they're not quite there yet. Not sure if you read it earlier, but good vid on the A2 engineering. Thank you. You mean the stream? Did it feel like it was good gameplay there? Badger stream yesterday was a really good combo about expectations, CIG responsibility, and ours. Nice. Just want to find a cool cave hidden behind a waterfall. Trying to hit that God, Banjo-Kazooie? Is that Banjo-Kazooie you are incarnating?
It's also probably also going to tie into the landing stuff as well. So you want to be able to see terrain as well. So we got to make that work.
What's the timeline on a planet view?
Okay.
I was thinking next patch, but they sound like they're further out than that. Like that doesn't sound like a 324 4.0 kind of thing from what they're saying. That sounds like a past this year sort of thing, which is a huge bummer because a planet surface map was one of the things I was really pumped about for having a star map like that.
The current animation for opening the Moby glass is rather slow. I was trying to think of the whole thing. Now that we have great things like interior maps, is there a potential to quickly check Moby where you are instead of having to wait for your character to raise their arm, push the button, have it pop up, and such? Has there been any thought or consideration about
I hope it's
speeding that
4.0.
process up? We've got the new Moby class, but I think, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, that animation has been there for.
Yeah, it's a really old animation. We've updated the UI, but we need to also update the animation at some point. It's probably something that we're going to be in discussion with the technical animators about, like how exactly that should work. We probably want like a minimum time spec, so like, you know, make it look good as long as it's under X seconds. So it should be pretty quick, but we just need to update that because it's just basically like this. Right, so it's got to feel more organic. Our whole thing is like you've got to make it feel diegetic in the world and grounded in the world, and you might as well just put it in 2D at that point. Yeah. So that animation needs to be updated, but it's going to require some work from the coordination with some other teams.
I was going to say, it feels like that would be the character feature team that does that, than the UI team. Colt! Oh my lord, Colt, getting us started off with the support, with the subs for today. Thank you, Colt favorite. Appreciate you gifting out those subs to the good folks here in the garden. If you are a supporter or a subscriber of any sort on Twitch or YouTube or anything, you do get exclusive videos every month. The normal videos I make are one thing. I try to make higher quality videos that go into more of the kind of development history of the game for supporters. And I've got a new one coming out this week, all about what CIG is trying to do in-game to combat things like griefing and harassment, and how that will affect the rest of the game for everybody else. So if you want to argue about griefing, consider supporting the channel. How about making it easier to click on things you are holding so you place them or throw them? You have to wait until your character decides to stop wiggling around to get a good click. I like the character wiggle. Little wiggle wiggle. You want to lock it all up in your pocket. It's your bar of chocolate. Just have that UI show up and display instantly even as the animation plays out. You like the chat with Yo-Yo Mega? Glad to hear it. Wonder if they want to implant hidden rare ship or items around a planet or space that you can only map data you find. Yes, 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 and yes. That sounds like it's part of their goal.
Yeah, it's very, yes. Papa Zuzu in chat says it's very Pip-Boy like. But we have phones today that have gesture controls and stuff like.
What's up, Mike Taylor? How you doing?
First question.
Welcome in. I think Fire is going to be a 4.0 thing.
Pull it up. Would you actually have to hit a button, or can it tell, like, hey, I'm doing this? You know, I'm not a shield maiden. You know, I'm trying to get my Moby class. So could it just pop up? You know, with that, does it need to have the push? Those questions are probably, you know, to be discussed and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think facial recognition, that's not going to exist in 900 years in the future. That wouldn't work.
Yeah, there's probably room to speed.
There's no motion detection in the 2900s.
But we're not making promises that we're going to speed up. He's saying we're going to look into it, and it probably it's due for some review. All right, I don't know why I switched back to you. Here we switch back to me. Why does pathfinding not work between several rooms or even several planets?
This is actually one of the things that I fixed recently. You couldn't route between zones. I had it working initially, but it turned out that it didn't work on a server environment because, again, things aren't streamed in, and those entities that I need, those transit entities, don't necessarily exist. So we do have a temporary solution for that. So it should work so long as those zones that you need to route between are streamed in. But there's a longer term plan to make that work totally regardless and much more reliably. I think they're doing a transit refactor.
Yeah.
So there's some dependencies.
Oh my God, transit has been refactored
as well.
Transit got refactored for server meshing a few years ago. And I don't know if that's part of the same refactor that they're doing now, but it feels like a lot of stuff has been refactored multiple times for server meshing.
So It is the routing in the last couple of months has gotten a lot more robust, so it's a lot more reliable, but there's still quite a ways to go. And I'm kind of at the point where I'm kind of starting to depend on some other systems, and I got to wait until they're further along, and then that's going to benefit the map because it uses AI, and then if that doesn't find a path, then it's got to use transit. So those are two different sort of systems that are being developed, at least for the interior map. I don't know if you can comment on the star map routing. But.
Yeah, I mean, the star map routing, I know we want to refactor that as well, because there are some issues at the moment, obviously, because you set a route and then you go there and it's moved since then, so it blocks things, and that gets really frustrating. So we obviously need to look into ways to handle that in the future so that whenever you go anywhere, your route always exists and you can always do it and you don't have to reset it and all of this. So yeah, there's a lot of work still to be done on that.
But when it comes specifically to this, it's also a bit of design, right? It's a decision was made that you can route from your ship because it's the hardware in the ship doing the routing. But from seeing feedback, discussions have been started, it's starting to. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the future.
See, they do this. They make calls based on what we're saying. I believe in the idea that, I want to be able to set a route from my person, but I don't necessarily want to get every single direction from point A to point B. And I don't know how they can, I don't know. I feel like they have to just bite the bullet and give people turn-by-turn directions to their ship, from their ship to their place, I don't know. It's rough. You can't tell somebody on the star map, leave atmosphere to quantum jump, right? You have to basically just tell them, get in your ship and then quantum jump here. And you have to figure out those bits in between. So I feel like if they can have a certain amount of those bits in between that you still need to know for yourself, that encourages people to still understand the game and play the game and not just rely on route guidance all the time to get wherever you need to go. Because I don't think that's good for the game. I think the more time people are staring at a map and using route guidance, the less incentive you have to make sure that the actual gameplay is as fun as it could be. You're back at Star Citizen after 3 years. What are we looking forward to right now? Honestly, I'm looking forward to server meshing. I think the biggest thing that has happened in the last 3 years is that all of the prerequisites for server meshing have been fulfilled. They might not be working entirely 100% as they should be, but they've all been fulfilled. Server meshing has been tested and proven in a non-NDA environment. Now what I'm looking forward to is server meshing working in the game. Always going to be griefers, and there will always be people out there who will randomly help you out. One of the best parts of the community. True. It's your favorite South African. Hey, yo. See, someone gifted you a sub while you were away. Enjoy it, my friend. Make sure to check out the main channel on YouTube. There's a playlist called Members Only Videos. You'll have access to all of those now. Congrats. Server meshing is just servers sharing live information back and forward. Okay. That's okay. It's what I'm looking forward to. You looking forward to the stuff in EPTU working? That too. I'm looking forward to that. Automated route guided travel is fine with so many with you as long as you watch the full travel and can cancel to manual anytime. Oh, I don't think that the ship should fly you there. Like when I say automatic route guidance, I just mean giving you the path on your map. Yeah, I don't think there should be an autopilot that flies you there. That's no fun. All right, back to the UI talk. Sorry.
This one might be something that we want to implement where people can do it from the surfaces of planets and so on.
I think the main reason it's in the ship at the moment is because the system is tied to checking whether you have enough fuel, right? And if you don't have that ship available, it doesn't know whether you have that fuel. So we need to account for that and consider that if we're going to allow you to do that from.
That's a good point.
Anywhere.
And for the folks in the chat that are picking up on transit refactor, it's not anything super sexy or amazing. Just consider that when server meshing, and you have to be able to divide all these areas into different servers, and that includes sometimes landing zones if you guys all decide to go to one and stuff, and the trains need to work across servers. It's just some code stuff.
I could find the monthly report back in 2021 where they were talking about that.
They glom onto everything. They got them to say that transit refactor. It's like just some underlying tech stuff.
Just code stuff.
Yep. Will there be a means of locating our ships further out than just 20 kilometers away from us? Either the current ship that we have, or former ships, lost ships, wrecks, ships we had to abandon. Just easier way to find our litter, I suppose, what they're asking.
Scanning.
Yeah, so what happens now is really that the ship will stream out when you don't see it, when it's behind something, maybe it's just too far away. Different situations will stream it out anyway, and then it gets harder to find. I'm not sure how the data is stored and so on, but I think that's like we could store that position that the ship had when you left it, but obviously then someone could take it and you wouldn't know because it's streamed out on your end. So
sounds like data running.
The bottom line is, in the future, this is something that we would want, because with a lot of changes that we're getting in for future patches, it's going to make sense to keep track of more of these things. So yeah, but currently it's a short distance thing, but you can do it. You do have it now on the Mobi. You locate your ship. And,
we got time for just 2 more questions here. First one's about widescreen, ultra widescreen, weird aspect ratios. That's obviously, it's no secret that the Star Citizen community tend to be early adopters of a lot of different tech, VR and stuff like that. So there's a lot of folks who have super insano wide monitors that wrap around them and stuff.
360 coverage.
What can you tell them about any support, any work being done to help alleviate some of the weirdness that happens when they have these super weird monitors?
I suppose the most straightforward answer is the slider, the slider which goes from the standard 16:9 aspect ratio that you'd get on a 1 regular monitor, and then you can slide it to whatever aspect ratio you're running at. So if you've got 3 monitors, you're going to be 48:9 effectively, right? So if you've got the corner pieces like the interior map or and the thing in the top right and the health bar, you could effectively put them right to the corners of monitor 1 and monitor 3 and be like this all the time. But it's on a slider, so you can choose somewhere between 16:9 and have it like on your center monitor.
That's cool.
16:9 monitor, and then move it all the way out to however many monitors you have. Or if you've got like a 21:9, it's probably just going to be a small change, but it's user defined, that thing.
Yeah, and that's in already.
That's in already, yeah.
So.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's been like, that has been a consistent question for years. That's a big deal that they got that in. I hope that works well.
This is one of those forever questions. I'm looking at the list here, and there's at least 3 I'm looking at that are all the same thing here. Customizability. It's we talked about readability issues. We talked about accessibility issues. We talked about the one guy who just didn't like blue. What about the ability to? I don't want my mini map up there. I want my mini map over there. How. Our answer to this has changed over the years. I've been here long enough and followed the project even before that to know that our answer has changed as different regimes have come in, as different schools of thought have come in, as we've learned more about how diegetic we want to make things, which limits
the third options. Star Citizen regime.
So I'd like to get the answer today, or today's version of this answer. And it's only today's version, keeping in mind that we are a game that is continuously evolving, continuously in development stuff, and the answer.
The devs are quiet, like the video volume is quiet.
But what's our thoughts today about the possibility of customization, being able to move these widgets wherever we want and stuff?
So before Gabrielle replies, I'll just sort of give you my opinion, which is this is sort of our first drop of.
Sorry, if you missed that last answer, they were basically saying that they've allowed for the UI to be spread across a screen rather than stick to 16 by 9, which is great because we've been waiting for widescreen support for a long time. Anybody who's had a widescreen knows it has been pitiful trying to support that. So, good feature addition. I'll keep the volume up a little bit for you from here on.
Well, obviously, we're going to do the vehicles as well. But we've got the first drop of the new
And
visor and lens layouts.
For those who don't know, this won't be happening very much longer. This is, you know, the house that we're living in right now, the one that has dealt with all the flooding and stuff. We're evacuating from this pretty soon, probably in the next couple weeks, and we'll be moving into our new place. And so there won't be any more. There he is, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. I know you'll miss it. Back to the video.
And what we want to do is make that as good as possible for everyone as much as possible, right? So in an ideal world, you'd want nobody to want to customize it because it's perfect. But we don't live in an ideal world. So, you know, we're open to design decisions from there, I suppose. But that ideally we get to a position where the design's good for absolute majority of cases, and it's not like people going, I just hate this thing, I want to turn off the interior map, or I want to turn off my health bar or whatever. If the health bar is not as intrusive, or health bar, I'm just paraphrasing, but you have a thing that just comes on and just notifies you something and goes off, then maybe it's not so intrusive that you go, I must turn this thing off. If we get as much right, then you sort of reduce the need for that much customization.
Yeah.
But presumably the customization question is still open-ended.
Yeah, I guess to a degree, right? Because I fully agree. Like, we are working on this UI actively. This is always improving, and we are making it as good as we can. But bottom line is, it's always nice with customizability, and I think that would be, again, for the far-flung future, really. We need to make sure that we have all the UI at its best. And then we can start looking into, okay, now it's worth giving people the power, because we've done our best now, and let's allow them, and also let's allow ourselves to take the time to look into something like this, because it's also
which is equal on this sort of accessibility options as well. If you get it right, then hopefully a lot of the accessibility issues are not as strong, but we will have all these accessibility options for changing the text and stuff. But
can we get a Tyrus announcement in the chat? Bro just dropped a massive super chat. Gib org tools #join GII. Tyrus is the original purveyor of #join GII, and I would tell you to copyright that, but I think GII is already under our label. Sorry about that. But dude, thank you for the super chat, and I also agree. Gib org tools. We got to start taxing those members. Give money. No, I'm kidding. Money doesn't even matter in this game right now. I just want to be able to easily identify org members in the game. Please. Thank you, Tyrus. Good to see you here.
It takes you away from, the best version, but you might make it more usable for certain individuals.
But there's certain aspects like, turning the minimap on or off. Like, people, you want to allow for that, because maybe you don't want to see a map all the time. You want to use the signs. You want to play more of you want to let yourself
Thank you, Echo.
discover the environment without tools. It's kind of like letting go of technology in a way, like going off in a forest or something.
Coffee cup.
But having that there, at least, like initially, that allows us to kind of gather a lot of the testing. Like, is it going to break on a specific machine or a setup? And so we can gather more data initially, and then we can figure out maybe like a hardcore mode for the HUD, like where you don't have certain things. It's just wipe everything away.
Yeah,
But
turning things off is certainly something that's going to be easy.
I feel like I would want to play under that mode. Sometimes.
It's a lot easier to turn the minimap on off than it was to write it in the first place.
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, that's it. You survived. You did another Star Citizen Live. Thank you so much.
Completely out of
Taking
focus,
time
but you
to,
survived.
be here at the end of the week and talk to us and answer folks' questions. Hold on, wait, do one more. Hi, look at that. I'm just playing. We're just do a little. Hi. Oh, look, I'm in 2 places. I'm just gonna leave it here because I'm just.
Too much control in this man's hands.
What am I doing? Oh, I'm editing the show. I looked over there. The person who usually tells me what I'm doing, they're not there. So yeah, that's it. That's this week's show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching. If you haven't, check out yesterday's ISE. It was a great look at some of the new Arena Commander features that are also coming their way in the upcoming Alpha 3.23. Next week's shows are patch dependent. Next week's shows are will be one thing or it'll be another thing, depending on if 3.23 goes to live or not. So keep your eye on the Roberts Space Industry.
So it's going to be whatever plays if 3.23 does that. Like, what? 3.23 going live this week? Well, I guess we'll see. This week in Star Citizen will probably say something similar to that.
.com website to learn more about that, about any announcements or whatever for that. For this week's show, thank you to, I gotta do this way, there we go. Thank you to Bone, to Gabriel, to Emily, to Zane for taking the time to be here on the show. Thank you to Pete for changing my batteries out in the middle of the show. We knew we were going to get Pete on the show at some point. Today was the day.
Pete.
And then, of course, thank you guys for watching us and keep coming back and keep supporting us and stuff. And I don't know, I'm button crazy now here. Watch this one. It was just can I do Bone? Let me see if I can do Bone's head on my. There we go. No. Okay, no. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Too much fun.
Bye.
Too much fun for this guy. All right. So that's our UI update. Honestly, it's a lot of that update was a lot of here's what's coming. There's some okay stuff in there. But it wasn't huge in terms of big news that I think is going to stick around for a long time or make big waves. A good preview of stuff to come, but we're definitely getting we're deep into 3.23. There's less for them to be more excitement about. Now it's more clarifying. It's more talking about the feedback they've been getting and really just preparing for 3.23 go live. So I think it'll probably be a few weeks until content starts to pick up again. And it seems like, I think they said they're going to take a week or two off after the patch goes live and then they'll start back up or something like that. Owen was a very good guy to talk to. Yeah, he seems like he's got good stuff to say about UI. You missed a bit. What do I think about the red UI banners that shows where the gunfire comes from in PvE and PvP? Little worried with that type of hand holding. I like it. I like the damage indicators. I think Star Citizen has been a really miserable experience for myself because I can never tell where I'm getting shot from. In real life, it's pretty easy to tell which direction you've been shot from. Well, actually, I haven't been shot, so I guess I can't speak for that. I have experienced a paintball, an airsoft pellet, and laser tag. All those things generally tell you pretty well what direction you're being shot from, but in games it's almost impossible to tell. So I do think there needs to be some sort of visual indicator. And I actually like the style that they went with, too. Current goal is to open up to Wave 4 PTU tonight. If build is okay, all backers over the next couple of days for an open PTU. I did say that they would probably try and do an open PTU by the end of April. But even then, that doesn't sound like they're going to hit that. Audio is a big factor. Yeah. The idea of what griefing is will always be very opinionated. Yeah, that's why I'm making a video about it. No, you guys, the griefing angle on the video I'm making, let me show you. So this is the project. Currently in the works. Again, this is for supporters. So if you are a YouTube channel member, Twitch member, or Ko-fi supporter, there's rare people who are using Ko-fi. This is the project that I'm talking about right now. It pulls on some quotes from people like Todd Pappy back several years ago. Actually, I think it pulls like 2 or 3 different quotes from Todd Pappy. Yeah, I got him on here 3 times. The amount of this that talks about griefing of this whole project is like this. Come on, let me select. Okay, I can't select. It's like a little bit of it. That the griefing is not the main topic here. The main topic in this video is how is Star Citizen going to enforce their rules? Now, griefing comes up in that conversation because obviously rules being broken is a thing that must happen for griefing to be the case, right? If rules aren't being broken, that means that it's literally the game maker's intention that those things are happening. In which case, it's how it was by design, and that's a big deal. And if you listen, there's one part here that Todd actually says something along the lines of, "You're not supposed to be safe."
Holster your weapon, or you need to be safe. So, and
here,
you want to know that certain areas are safe. So, and
sorry.
When you
no, that's another part where he kind of clarifies the statement. It's like back here, I think.
We still want
that audio
areas that are, you know, mostly geared towards PvE. In Stanton, you know, we still system, you know, do I want to go to, and Stanton is a somewhat lawful system. It's got UE.
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but there's somewhere here where he says something along the lines of
mostly geared towards PvE. So it will really just depend on kind of
that he wants to go with, like, they want to have areas that are basically 90% safe, basically always be safe, but there is still a risk. That's what this video is about. This video is about what are those risks, why are they apparent, how are they going to stop those risks with in-game systems, and what has the company specifically said about this. It's basically here to clarify what Star Citizen as an experience is supposed to be, balancing your PvE, your PvP gameplay, whether you're supposed to be attacked, what is the risk of having all loot, that kind of stuff. That's what this video is. Coming out for supporters probably in the next 2 days, I would say. I just got to do audio design work on this, and then it'll be good to go. Audio design and a thumbnail. So keep an eye out for that if you became a sub or a member or anything, or if you're supporting us. Thank you so much for that. It goes a long way, and obviously, we like to try and reward you guys for making this all possible. If you hide, you now where the enemy are behind cover. I'm hoping sound are the giveaway more than a red banner. I think the damage indicators are pretty good. I mean, sound too, but if sound was the giveaway, then you would still know the direction they come from. It only gives you a direction. It doesn't tell you they're behind a certain amount of cover. If it outlined to the person, the character in the game, I think that'd be a bit much, yeah. Something along the lines of the injured party being able to say, "Hey, bounty hunter guild, I've got a guy who needs a few holes in his ship." Yeah. Yeah, we got a Discord. Exclamation point Discord will make the server pop up. A lot of great people. Actually, a lot of the people who are in the chat right now are pretty active in our Discord, chatting it away, talking about nonsense and stuff. And it's a good group of people if you want to join us. We also have an in-game org you can join. So our Discord is called The Garden. Our in-game org is the Garden Interstellar Initiative, and you could join both, just one. It's your call. But I'm about done for today, folks. Big ol' thanks for joining me for this little overview of the UI update. It's a little bit of a shorter stream, but I will be back with gameplay on Wednesday. We're going to be back into 323 PTU, testing the game, figuring some stuff out. And I don't know. It's not really a long-term PTU, so there's no point in grinding rep, but I can't wait for it to go live so we can. I'm looking forward to that a lot. I'm tired of the PTU. I'm over it. I want to go back to live. Live end of May. No, I think it's going to be much, much earlier than that. Should play Hunt. You can tell the direction and distance pretty clearly by sound. I love Hunt Showdown. Good game. It's a solid game. But I think Hunt Showdown is a lot more controlled environment than Star Citizen. What happens when we're in situations that don't have any sound, you know? Vacuums and stuff. What happens when we're in places where the sound is echoing everywhere? Like, I know that complicates the game a little more and makes you have to pay attention to where you are, but I think damage indicators are pretty key. It's not something I ever considered not doing in the game, in fact. I'm gonna send you all over to Moist Noodle. Usually does some combat streaming. Looks like he's in Star Citizen. Don't get to see him in NSC too much, so I'll send the love his way, folks. Drop some love in the chat for him. Tell him it's a Toes raid. Tell him where you came from. Give him the tomato love. And enjoy yourselves over there. Get to see some actual gameplay now instead of just talking. Hope you did enjoy this talk, though. If you're new here, if you haven't been coming here very often, Mondays generally are like this. We go back and forth in chat. We talk about the game, talk about ourselves, what we're feeling. That's just what Mondays are. Wednesdays, more gameplay. Fridays and Saturdays, generally some group stuff. So consider dropping by on another day if you're interested in other types of streams. And absolutely feel free to drop by the YouTube channel where I just dropped a new video talking about 323. Either way, hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you all enjoy your day. Go eat something delicious. Be beautiful people. Give someone you know and love a hug. Be happy. And I'll see you all on Wednesday. Have a good one, folks. Bye.